The County Championship is the domestic first-class cricket competition in England and Wales. The competition consists of 18 clubs named after and originally representing historic counties, 17 from England and 1 from Wales. From 2016, the championship will be sponsored by Specsavers, who replaced Liverpool Victoria after 14 years. History. Champion County. Until 1890, the concept of an unofficial championship existed whereby various claims would be made by or on behalf of a particular club as the champion county, an archaic term which now has the specific meaning of an unofficial claimant for the county championship title prior to 1890. In contrast, the term county champions applies in common parlance to a team that has won the official title since 1890. The most usual means of claiming the unofficial title was by popular press acclaim. In the majority of cases, the claim or proclamation was retrospective, often by cricket writers using reverse analysis via a study of known results. The unofficial title was not proclaimed in every season up to 1889 because in many cases there were not enough matches or there was simply no clear candidate. Having already been badly hit by the 7 Years' War, county cricket ceased altogether during the Napoleonic Wars, and there was a period from 1797 to 1824 during which no inter-county matches took place. The concept of the unofficial title has been utilized ad hoc and relied on sufficient interest being shown. Constitution of the official championship. The official county championship was constituted in a meeting at Lord's Cricket Ground on 10 December 1889, which was called to enable club secretaries to determine the 1890 fixtures. While this was going on, representatives of the age-leading county clubs held a private meeting to discuss the method by which the county championship should in future be decided. A majority were in favour of ignoring drawn games altogether and settling the championship by wins and losses. Quote, under this system, defeats were subtracted from victories and the county with the highest total were champions. The new competition, which had official sanction, began in the 1890 season and at first featured Gloucestershire, Kent, Lancashire, Middlesex, Nottinghamshire, Surrey, Sussex and Yorkshire. Origin of concept. It is difficult to know when the concept of a county championship originated. While early matches were often between teams named after counties, they were not the club teams the usage would imply today. Roland Bowen states in his history that the earliest usage of the term county championship occurred in 1837 re a match between Kent and Nottingham Cricket Club, which for the purposes of that match was called Nottinghamshire. That may be surely the actual terminology, but closer examination of the sources does indicate a much earlier expression of the idea. The earliest known inter-county match was in 1709 between Kent and Surrey, but match results are unknown until the 1720s. The first time a source refers to the superiority of one county is in respect of a match between Edwin Stedshie and Sir William Gage's Shee at Penshurst Park in August 1728. Stedshie won by an unknown margin, although Gage's Shee needed just 7 in the second innings. The source says that the game could be called Kent v Sussex as the players were reported as 11 of each county. Sir William Gage was a Sussex landowner and Edwin Stead was a resident of Maidstone in Kent. Evidently Mr. Stead's Kent team also won 2 games earlier that season against the Duke of Richmond's Shee. The source states that was the 3rd time this summer that the Kent men have been too expert for those of Sussex. This clearly implies that Kent was considered to be the champion county at the time. In 1729, Sir William Gage's Sussex team defeated Kent on the 5th of September. The latter got in one hand, as the former did in 2 hands, so the Kentish men threw it up. This may have been the earliest known innings victory. The report goes on to say that Thomas Waymark turned the scale of victory, which for some years past has been generally on the Kentish side. The statement indicates that inter-county matches had been played for many years previously and that there was keen rivalry, with each team seeking ascendancy, i.e., in effect as champions, or at least in terms of bragging rights. Development of county cricket. Inter-county cricket was popular throughout the 18th century, although the best team, such as Kent in the 1740s or Hampshire in the days of the famous Hambledon Club, was usually acknowledged as such by being matched against all England. There were a number of contemporary allusions to the best county, including some in verse, such as one by a Kent supporter who celebrated a victory by Kent over Hampshire in terms of "bring down the pride of the Hambledon Club." Analysis of 18th century matches has identified a number of strong teams who actually or effectively proclaimed the temporal superiority. The most successful county teams were Hampshire, Kent, Middlesex, Surrey and Sussex, but there was often a crossover between town and county, with some strong local clubs tending at times to represent a whole county. Examples are London, which often played against county teams and was in some respects almost a county club in itself; Swindon, which was for a few years in the 1740s effectively representative of Sussex as a county; Dartford, sometimes representative of Kent; and the Hambledon Club, certainly representative of Hampshire and also perhaps of Sussex. One of the best county teams in the late 18th century was Berkshire, which no longer has first-class status. Using the same sort of reverse analysis, it is possible to compile a list of the most competitive teams from the recommencement of county cricket in 1825. Roland Bowen published his ideas about this in the 1960s when he was the editor of the Cricket Quarterly periodical. He began by stating that Sussex was publicly acknowledged as the best county in the 1827 season when they played against All England in the round-arm trial matches, although the team's involvement in these matches had more to do with the fact that Sussex was the prime mover in the round-arm revolution. Kent, which had a celebrated team at the time, has long been acknowledged as a champion county in most seasons of the 1840s, but in other years there is no clear-cut contender. County clubs. The middle years of the 19th century are the period of county club formation. So, when Sussex claimed titles in 1826 and 1827, it was the same loose association based on Brighton Cricket Club that had a successful season in 1792. But claims on behalf of Sussex from 1845 were by the Sussex County Club, founded in 1839. A similar situation existed with both Kent and Surrey. Nottinghamshire is the only other 19th-century claimant before the 1860s, starting in 1852, but all of its claims have been made by the county club, which was founded in 1841. As the popularity of organised cricket grew throughout England, more county clubs came into contention, and by the mid-1860s, they included Cambridgeshire, Hampshire, Lancashire, Middlesex and Yorkshire. At this time and into the 1870s, the press began to advocate some form of league system, and various journals and individuals, including W. G. Grace, began publishing the views about who was the champion in a given season. Grace became interested after the Gloucestershire Club was founded in 1870, with himself as captain, and made several claims to the championship during the 1870s. In the 1870s, it became widely accepted that the side with fewest losses should be the champions. Various lists of unofficial champions began to be compiled by the contemporary press and others, but they are not usually in complete agreement. Qualification rules. An important year was 1873, when player qualification rules came into force, requiring players players to choose at the start of each season whether they would play for the county of the birth or the county of residence. Before this, it was quite common for a player to play for both counties during the course of a single season. 3 meetings were held, and at the last of these, held at the Oval on the 9th of June 1873, the following rules were decided on: that no cricketer, whether amateur or professional, shall play for more than one county during the same season. Every cricketer born in one county and residing in another shall be free to choose at the commencement of each season for which of those counties he will play, and shall, during that season, play for the one county only. A cricketer shall be qualified to play for the county in which he is residing and has resided for the previous 2 years, or a cricketer may elect to play for the county in which his family home is, so long as it remains open to him as an occasional residence. That should any question arise as to the residential qualification, the same shall be left to the decision of the Marylebone Cricket Club. Newspaper leagues. It was in the 1870s that newspapers began to print tables of inter-county results and then proclaim a champion on the basis of their chosen criteria. In Arthur Haygarth's scores and biographies, reference is often made to at least matches lost as a means of deciding the champion. This was a method that, in a modified form, permeated through to the official championship when 1 point was awarded for a win but 1 was deducted for a defeat. It was discontinued after 1909 as it was deemed to be inherently unsatisfactory, and a points per win method replaced it in 1910. As Derek Burley describes, the papers did not use standard criteria, and so there were several seasons in which any title must be considered shared, as there was no universally recognized winner. With no consistency of approach, the issue inevitably led to argument, counter-arguments and confusion until the matter was taken in hand at the meeting of club secretaries in December 1889, where the official championship was constituted. In Roy Webber's The County Cricket Championship, he asserts that the championship is generally accepted as starting in the 1873 season, but that is a convenient date decided upon many years later, because 1873 was the first season in which rules of county qualification were in operation. Webber acknowledges the difficulties posed from 1873 to 1890 by varying programs, with some county clubs playing many more matches than others. For example, in 1874, when Derbyshire was held by some to have won the title, they played only 4 matches while Yorkshire played 12. A list of champions for the period would be subjective, and in most seasons there would be strongly competing claims. In general, it may be asserted that Gloucestershire, with all 3 Grace brothers, were the strongest team in most of the 1870s. Nottinghamshire were in the ascendancy from about 1879 to 1886, and then Surrey from 1887 through the start of the official championship in 1891. The unofficial titles. All titles claimed before 1890 are strictly unofficial and are based on contemporary claims made by or on behalf of a particular team and recorded at the time. Reverse analysis performed by a writer who was trying to establish the best team in a given season by reference to the known fixtures and results. It must be stressed that the purpose of such lists when published has never been to ascribe any kind of ruling, but rather to provoke discussion. The main value of the lists is to indicate which were the most competitive teams during a given period. First official competition. The first ever official cricket county championship match began on the 12th of May 1890. Yorkshire beat Gloucestershire by 8 wickets at Bristol. James Cranston scored the first century in the competition. The final positions in 1890 were based on number of wins minus the number of losses. Later, a points system was introduced, but it has been subject to several variations. Expansion and points systems. In the 1891 season, Somerset competed in the Championship, and in 1895 Derbyshire, Essex, Hampshire, Leicestershire and Warwickshire all joined. The rules were changed so each side had to play at least 16 matches per season. Until World War II, counties played differing numbers of matches, except that all counties were required to play 28 matches in each season from 1929 to 1932 inclusive. When the championship resumed in 1946, teams played 26 matches per season, and the pattern of a fixed number of matches has continued since then, although the number has varied, but again there was an exception. From 1960 to 1962 inclusive, counties could choose whether to play 28 or 32 matches. The original points system was simply wins minus losses, but with the expansion in 1895 the points system was modified so that the ratio of points to finished games decided the final positions. In 1910 the system was modified again so that the order was based on ratio of matches won to matches played, while from 1911 to 1967 a variety of systems were used that generally relied on points for wins and for first innings leads in games left unfinished. Since 1968, the basis has been wins and bonus points, which are earned for scoring a certain number of runs or taking a certain number of wickets in the first 110 overs of each first innings. In an effort to prevent early finishes, points have been awarded for draws since 1996. Of the current 18 sides in county cricket, the remaining joined at the following dates: Worcestershire in 1899, Northamptonshire in 1905, Glamorgan in 1921, Durham in 1992. An invitation in 1921 to Buckinghamshire was declined due to lack of proper playing facilities, and an application by Devon in 1948 to join was rejected. Recent developments. All matches prior to 1988 were scheduled for 3 days, normally of a nominal 6 hours each plus intervals, but often with the first 2 days lengthened by up to an hour and the final day shortened, so that teams with fixtures elsewhere on the following day could travel at sensible hours. The exception to this was the 1919 season, when there was an experiment with 2-day matches played over longer hours, up to 9 o'clock in the evening in midsummer. This experiment was not repeated. From 1988 to 1992 some matches were played over 4 days. From 1993 onwards, all matches have been scheduled for 4 days. Doubts about the future of the competition. By 2008 many voices were heard questioning the future of the county championship in the light of the shaky financial structure of many counties, poor attendances and the irresistible rise of 2020 cricket. Amongst those questioning the whole basis of the competition was Frank Keating of The Guardian, who said on the 15th of April 2008, "Sheepishly stirs another summer of what has tragically become a drawn-out primeval charade, the English County Championship. For decade upon decade it was a cherished adornment of the summer subculture. Certainly for my generation, when heroes were giants and giants were locals. About a quarter of a century ago the championship began fraying and then in no time unraveling. It is now a pointless exercise, unwatched, unwanted, serviced by mostly blinkered, greedy chairman bullied committees and played by mostly unknown foreign and second-rate mercenaries." However, doubts have been raised over many decades concerning the competition's viability, yet it still survives. The Changing Face of Cricket by Clark and Batchelor made similar predictions about county cricket. The ECB announced that from 2017 Division 1 would contain 8 teams and Division 2 10 teams, with only one team being promoted from Division 2 in 2016. Teams. Competition format. Points system. The county championship works on a points system, the winner being the team with most points in the first division. The points are currently awarded as follows, with a draw increasing to 5 points from 2014. Win 16 points plus bonus points. Tie 8 points plus bonus points. Draw 5 points plus bonus points. Lost bonus points. Bonus points are collected for batting and bowling. These points can only be obtained from the first 110 overs of each team's first innings. The bonus points are retained regardless of the outcome of the match. Batting 200 to 249 runs, 1 point 250 to 299 runs, 2 points 300 to 349 runs, 3 points 350 to 399 runs, 4 points 400 plus runs, 5 points bowling. 3 to 5 wickets taken, 1.6 to 8 wickets taken, 2.9 to 10 wickets taken, 3 points deductions. Occasionally a team may have points deducted. Reasons for points deductions are as follows: fielding unregistered player. Points were deducted from Lancashire and Sussex in 1980, and Middlesex in 1981. In each case, the county had played an unregistered player in one match, and all points awarded in that match were deducted. Poor pitchers. Penalties for poor pitchers were initially introduced at 25 points. The first team to lose points for a poor pitch were Essex in 1989. In later years, smaller penalties were introduced. In 2011, Warwickshire, Hampshire and Kent were all docked 8 points for poor pitches at Edgbaston, the Rose Bowl and Canterbury respectively. No team lost points for a poor pitch in any of the seasons 2012 to 2015 inclusive. Slow over rates. Deductions for a slow over rate were introduced in 2001, units of 0.25 points per over short of the target number in any match. The penalty was increased to 0.5 points per over in 2004, and to 1 point per over in 2008. Ball tampering. Surrey lost 8 points for ball tampering in 2005. Surrey were relegated at the end of that season, but the effect of the penalty cannot be properly estimated by simply removing the H-point deduction from the final table. This would assume that the matches would have been played in the same way had the penalty not been enforced. Such an assumption cannot be sustained. Middlesex declaration on the first day of the final match only made sense because Middlesex started the match with a 15-point lead over Surrey. Breach of salary cap. Durham were subject to a 2.5-point penalty in the 2013 County Championship, as well as penalties in the limited over competitions. A breach of the salary cap in 2012. Despite this penalty, Durham still won the county championship in 2013. Discipline. Leicestershire were fined 16 points in 2015 in respect of 5 or more separate occasions when the players committed fixed penalty offences in a 12-month period. Results. Official county champions Yorkshire have won the most county championships with 32 outright titles and 1 shared. 3 current first-class counties have never won the official title, although Gloucestershire had claim to 3 unofficial titles in the 1870s. Promoted and relegated, there have been 2 divisions since 2000. Wooden spoons. Since the expansion of the championship from 9 counties to 14 in 1895, the wooden spoon for finishing bottom has been won by the following teams. Lancashire, Middlesex, Worcestershire and Surrey have never finished bottom. Leicestershire have shared last place twice, with Hampshire and Somerset. Records. Records can be found at Cricket Archive. County Championship records. Highest team scores 887 Yorkshire v Warwickshire, Edgbaston, Birmingham 1896. 863 Lancashire v Surrey, The Fosters Oval, Kennington 1990. 850-7D Somerset v Middlesex, Taunton 2007. 811 Surrey v Somerset, Kennington Oval 1899. 810-4D Warwickshire v Durham, Edgbaston, Birmingham 1994. 803-4D Kent v Essex, Old County Ground, Brentwood 1934. 801-8D Derbyshire v Somerset, County Ground, Taunton 2007. Lowest team scores 12 Northamptonshire v Gloucestershire, Spa Ground, Gloucester 1907. 13 Nottinghamshire v Yorkshire, Trent Bridge, Nottingham 1901. 14 Surrey v Essex, County Ground, Chelmsford 1983. 15 Hampshire v Warwickshire, Edgbaston, Birmingham 1922. 16 Warwickshire v Kent, Angel Ground, Tunbridge 1913. 20 Sussex v Yorkshire, The Circle, Hull 1922. 20 Derbyshire v Yorkshire, Bramall Lane, Sheffield 1939. 20 Essex v Lancashire, Essex County Ground, Chelmsford 2013. Most runs in an innings 501 *BC Lara, Warwickshire v Durham, Edgbaston 1994. 424 AC McLaren, Lancashire v Somerset, Taunton 1895. 405 Garhick, Worcestershire v Somerset, Taunton 1988. 366 NH Fairbrother, Lancashire v Surrey, The Oval 1990. 357 Arable, Surrey v Somerset, The Oval 1899. 355 KP Peterson, Surrey v Leicestershire, The Oval 2015. Best figures in an innings 10-10 H Verity, Yorkshire v Nottinghamshire, Leeds 1932. 10-18 G Geary, Leicestershire v Glamorgan, Pontypridd 1929. 10-30 C Blythe, Kent v Northamptonshire, Northampton 1907. 10-32 H Pickett, Essex v Leicestershire, Leighton 1895. 10-35 A Drake, Yorkshire v Somerset, Weston-super-Mare 1914. 10-36 H Verity, Yorkshire v Warwickshire, Leeds 1931. 1040 Egg Dennet, Gloucestershire v Essex, Bristol 1906. 10-40 W Bestwick, Derbyshire v Glamorgan, Cardiff 1921. 1040 Goballan, Middlesex v Lancashire, Lords 1929. Sponsors 1977-1983 Schweppes, 1984-1998 Britannic Assurance, 1999 2000 AXA PPP Healthcare, 2001 Cricinfo, 2002-2005 Frizzell, 2006-2015 Liverpool Victoria, 2016 Specsavers.